Some actors don't just entertain us on screen. They become part of our lives, the kind of stars we feel like we truly know. For millions of fans around the world, Sam Neill was exactly that. We watched him stare down dinosaurs with steady courage in Jurassic Park, but nothing could have prepared us for the heartbreaking news that hit this week. At 78, the beloved legend faced a battle no one saw coming, reminding us that even our greatest heroes aren't immune to life's toughest fights. But here's where it gets strange. On Monday, July 13, 2026, a simple message appeared on Sam Neill's own Instagram. It wasn't from a publicist or a studio. It came straight from his family. They shared that the Wana of Sam Neill were mourning his passing in Sydney, Australia. He was surrounded by loved ones, and he left with the same quiet dignity that defined his whole life. The words that stopped everyone cold. His death was sudden and unexpected. They thanked the staff at St. Vincent's Private Hospital, and then came the detail that hit hardest. Sam remained cancer-free when he passed. He had won the long war everyone assumed would take him. What makes this even harder is how full of life he seemed right until the end. Just weeks earlier, on June 11, he was at the ARIA Hall of Fame Awards in Sydney, grinning in selfies with legends like Kate Ceberano, Jenny Morris, and Vika and Linda Bull. He called them four women he'd idolized for decades. Jacinda Ardern, the former Prime Minister of New Zealand, stood right there with him as another hero. That same day, he posted a gentle video from his farm, gathering olives, noting the crop was small this year and wondering why. 10 days later, he shared exciting news. He'd been nominated for a Silver Logie for his role in the drama The 12. The ceremony was set for August. He never made it there. So the painful question hangs over everything. How does a man who beat one of the deadliest cancers, who was still collecting olives and award nods, slip away without warning? To understand that, we have to go back to the fight he only just won. The trouble started quietly, in the least glamorous way possible. While doing press for Jurassic World Dominion in 2022, Sam noticed swollen glands in his neck. The diagnosis was brutal: stage 3 angioimmunoblastic T-cell lymphoma, a rare and aggressive blood cancer. What followed was a battle he faced with that trademark dry humor of his. 4 rounds of chemotherapy hit hard. His hair vanished in just over 2 weeks. When the first drugs weren't enough, doctors switched to a newer, expensive treatment. He struck a deal with the company that still chills me. The treatment would be free if he was still alive after 4 months. While his body fought, he did something that probably saved his spirit. He started writing. He never planned a book, but with work on hold, he needed a reason to get up each day. He'd lie awake planning the next page, and those words quietly gave him purpose. That became his memoir. After his 4th scan showed the cancer had retreated, he wrote a line that hits differently now. He said he was a living man, with every intention of going on living and living and living. But cancer is patient. It came back. The treatment that held it off stopped working, and Sam didn't pretend it wasn't terrifying. He admitted the chemo had failed him. He felt lost, like he was on the way out. His last real hope was a clinical trial in Australia for CAR T-cell therapy. It reprograms your own immune cells to hunt the cancer from inside. Against the odds, it worked. In April 2026, a fresh scan showed no cancer anywhere. He called it extraordinary. He had always said he wasn't afraid to die. It would just annoy him, because there was still so much he wanted to do. This spring, it looked like he'd bought all the time in the world. But what almost nobody realized was how he chose to spend that borrowed time. Instead of resting quietly, Sam poured his energy into a fierce fight for the land right at his back door. An Australian company wanted to fast-track a massive gold mine in the Dunstan Mountains of central Otago, not far from Cromwell, Wanaka, and Alexandra. The plans were huge: open pits nearly 1 kilometer long and 300 meters deep, plus a massive tailings dam holding poisonous waste like arsenic. Conservationists warned it could destroy habitats for hundreds of thousands of native lizards. The company promised billions and hundreds of jobs. Sam refused to stay silent. He fronted a short documentary about the threat. He joined the local community group fighting it. He stood with his old friend, artist Sir Graham Sidney, at fundraisers. He was careful with his words, telling The Guardian he wasn't against mining, just this mine. Former Prime Minister Helen Clark stood with him, and even the country's environmental watchdog raised serious concerns. Then it turned ugly. The Resources Minister dismissed the worries in harsh terms, and critics mocked Sam as a wealthy hobby farmer worried about frogs. Worst of all, mine supporters sent him threats of violence, serious enough for police reports. In one video, he looked tired and shaken, admitting the personal abuse had blown him away. The toxicity surprised him. Even then, he didn't back down. He urged the country to stop this filthy mine before it ended everything. Why would a man in his late 70s, still recovering from cancer, take death threats over rolling hills? You have to understand what those hills meant to him. They weren't just scenery. They were his family story, more than 150 years deep in central Otago. For 30 years, he'd grown Pinot Noir and Riesling on that land under his 2 paddocks label. He joked his only goal was wine his friends would enjoy, and since his friends drank almost anything, it wasn't too hard. He loved that place with a tenderness he rarely showed elsewhere. During lockdowns, he'd cook on camera, poking fun at himself compared to glamorous TV chefs. His farm was full of animals named after people he adored: Laura Dern the chicken, Kylie Minogue the duck, Helena Bonham Carter the cow. He once shared how a bird named after Meryl Streep met a sad end with a ferret. That gentle humor showed a man completely at peace on his own soil. He wanted no part of stardom's trappings. He had friends who were huge stars, but he wouldn't trade his life. In his little town of Clyde, he could sit for coffee without anyone bothering him. No security, no entourage. That ordinary life was priceless to him. When threats came for that land, they weren't just attacking a celebrity's opinion. They were coming for the one place where he felt most himself. And yet, the world mostly wanted to talk about the other Sam. The one born in the summer of 1993, when he stepped onto that fictional dinosaur island as Dr. Alan Grant. He delivered lines an entire generation still recites about 2 species separated by 65 million years suddenly thrown together. What made it special was the quiet transformation. Grant starts awkward around kids and becomes their fierce protector. Sam sold every subtle shift without raising his voice. He returned for the 3rd film and Jurassic World Dominion, joking he'd finally learned to be a grizzled action hero. His gift was no accident. He said good acting hints at secrets beneath the surface, and that's what he did: tiny changes in the eyes, a pause, a look that could warm or menace in a heartbeat. It felt so real you forgot he was acting. That same year Jurassic Park made him a household name. He planted his first vines back home. At the height of fame most actors dream of, he was pushing a boot into the dirt, rooting himself. He held on to that ordinary life on purpose, knowing fame wasn't what truly mattered. To see where that came from, go back to a frightened little boy. Born Nigel Neill in 1947 in Omagh, Northern Ireland, son of a soldier. At 7, the family sailed to New Zealand. Sent to boarding school in Christchurch with his Irish accent, he was an outsider. He later explained swapping Nigel for Sam with honest humor. Showing up with a posh name and accent was asking for trouble. That boy learned early to blend in, and that quiet watchfulness stayed with him. He studied law but found drama club instead. No formal training, yet his first break came in 1977 with Sleeping Dogs. Roles followed, opposite Judy Davis in My Brilliant Career, the grown son of the devil in The Omen 3, toe-to-toe with Meryl Streep twice, a Soviet officer in The Hunt for Red October, and thrilling with young Nicole Kidman in Dead Calm. He was even considered for James Bond. He chopped off a finger in the piano, lost his mind in Event Horizon, and chilled viewers in Peaky Blinders. He built a career on being underestimated and patient endurance. That's what makes these final months so hard to accept. The official decision on that gold mine he fought for was due in late October 2026. Sam didn't live to hear it. He beat the cancer, celebrated his heroes, earned a nomination, harvested his olives, and then he was gone on July 13. Tributes poured in fast. Nicole Kidman called him one of the greats who took her under his wing at 18. Carl Urban called him a national treasure and inspiration. Toni Collette said she loved him, her hero and legend. Richard E. Grant wrote, "Sail on, kind sir." Directors and friends remembered his soulful beauty. Prime ministers mourned, and Universal called him their Jurassic legend. When you put his whole life together, the meaning hits hard. For over 50 years, Sam played the calm, decent man everyone turns to when disaster strikes. In his final year, off-screen, he became that man in real life. Standing steady, asking his country to leave the land better than they found it, taking abuse for it. The cancer didn't get the last word. And in the cruelest twist, neither did he. Those hills he loved are still waiting on their verdict, and the fight goes on without him. What about you? What did Sam Neill mean to you, and which moment from his work first stayed with you?